Right. So we will first comment on group one. Raise your hand, the group one students. Right. Now we have to pass the message to others also, right? Now, overall, right. Okay. Right. So overall, you go through the slides. Right. Presentation good, right? So you covered the content very well. Impairment, you cover impairment of individual asset, impairment of cash generating unit, and reversal of impairment, right? මේ ඔක්කොම කවර් කරලා තියෙනවා. මෙන්න මෙතන මම කිව්වේ දැන් there are certain areas that since the financial reporting and standard related minor things you have to very streamline. Now, when you say all assets except these required impairment test, no, these are the assets excluded by the scope of the LKS 13, right? It doesn't say that these assets need not to be tested for impairment. These are out of the scope of the LKS 36, right? Because even the financial asset included this list, right? The financial asset is impaired, right? Test for the impairment that is covered by SLFRS 9, right? Inventories, when you measure at cost and NRV, whichever is lower, automatically impairment take into consideration. Recoverable amount is considered. So this heading is not appropriate, right? So those are small things. So you have to correctly identify. Then now this is important for the whole group because now we are going to discuss company accounts. So as company account adjustment, you will get impairment, right? So we will not discuss the full standard. The standard is discussed in the presentation, right? But some adjustments, some of this content will be included in the company accounts as adjustment. So normally, yes, identify the impairment. You have to recognize the impairment when there are indicators. Into performance end of each period, when there is an indication, right? Now this content is very good. Right? You better emphasize this fact. It's a very, very interesting point. Now normally asset is tested for impairment when there are indicators that asset is impaired, right? Now it is like during the COVID period, everyone is not go for a PCR. When you have indicators, you go for the PCR. The PCR can be positive or negative. This is similar. When there are indicators, you go for the impairment test. After the impairment test, asset may be impaired, may not be impaired, right? So irrespective of the indication, the impairment, certain assets, annual impairment is required. For an example, irrespective of the indication, when you are leaving the country, you have to get a PCR, something like that, right? So there are no need of indications, right? So these are special type of asset. You need to test for annual impairment without any indication. Intangible asset with indefinite useful life. The other group discussed the intangible asset. Intangible asset, when it has indefinite useful life, you can't amortize. Right? Amortize means depreciate. When the useful life is unlimited, you can't determine, you can't amortize, depreciate. So then every year you have to check whether the value has come down. Right? That is the annual impact. Okay. So then intangible asset not available for use means still in the capitalization stage. Still you have not started the depreciation, the amortization. Right? Initial stage, some of the development cost we may capitalize over several years. So still not available for use. So now you have recognized the asset. Then in next year you have to see whether that value can really recover the recorded amount. So in simple, impairment means assets should not be recorded greater than the economic benefit, the value of the economic benefit that you are going to obtain from the asset. Right? When the asset record for 10 million, it should minimum generate 10 million worth economic benefit. That is called recoverable amount. The recoverable amount we can find, you get the economic benefit of the asset either by using or selling. That is why the recoverable amount is calculated by comparing fair value less cost to sell or value increase. Then goodwill acquired in the business combination, again goodwill indefinite useful life intangible asset, but it is covered by another standard SLFRS 3, not from this other intangible asset. That is why it is separately mentioned. Right? So goodwill also indefinite useful life, we have test for the annual impairment. Then you explain about the indicators, good, right? Then basically carrying amount and the recoverable amount, right? The recoverable amount, the whichever is higher, yes. Fair value less cost to sell, value being used. Then you use some examples and now here you use the value being used calculation part little. So this much of text should not be included in the slides, right? So you could have taken this into bullet points, right? Make a very textable slide thick. Report make it okay. Then since you are explaining this, you better incorporate some example into your report where the fair value, the value being used calculate using the present value of future cash flows. Right? So in your report, you can incorporate some activity where you will use this explanation and calculate the recoverable amount. Right? You can calculate the recoverable amount. Normally, you are given the value in use, fair value less cost to sell. This is how you calculate the value in use. Value in use means, okay, the asset can use for next 5 years. You can estimate the future cash flows and you take the appropriate discounting factor, discount it and take the present value. Right? You can have a simple activity for that in your report. Right. Then this one, okay, you got an example where the recoverable amount greater than the carrying amount, so there is no impairment. Then the recoverable amount less than the carrying amount, we had an impairment, right? So these are very good, right? Slides also good, right? Easy for any audience to understand, right? Use these diagrams and all, right? Then the accounting, now these are the very simple things, small things that I told you that you are presenting standard you have to consider. Now impairment double entry, you can say debit P&L. We don't credit the asset account. That is accumulated impairment loss, like accumulated depreciation, right? When you ask the depreciation double entry, if you say the debit P&L and credit asset, that is not wrong. Ultimately, we are deducting it from the asset, right? Here also, you have to adjust that in the report, right? The debit actually debit impairment loss account within bracket, you can say it's P&L. Okay, say okay, P&L, no problem, right? Ultimately go to the P&L. But we don't credit the asset. We credit accumulated impairment loss, right? Like accumulated depreciation. Then, if the previously asset has revalued, then yes, that it is treated as a reversal of revaluation surplus, right? So here also you have to say that it's credited to the provision for accumulated depreciation account. Then you explain the cash generating unit, and this one there was a small calculation error, right? Not the calculation error, small presentation mistake, because now we have mentioned the impairment loss is 24,000, and you correctly explain the impairment loss of this 24,000. But when you take the fair value less cost to sell, cost of disposal of the assets, 2,424,000, it should be 24,000 less, no? 1 million, 1.6 million, 2.1 million, 2.4 million. Impairment loss 24,000 means, right? The cash generating unit recoverable amount of fair value less cost of disposal is 2,376,000. Right? Right? But since you have identified the 24,000, you explain that how 24,000 is divided among the assets. Right? So this one wrong. You have to make that adjusted in your report. But this distribution correct because you take it proportionately. Right? Then when cash generating unit, you explain goodwill. First, you have to amortize. First, you have to allocate the impairment of cash generating unit against goodwill that you correctly identify. And if there is a specific asset where the carried amount less, you identify. So that theoretical part very correct, right? Correctly identified it. Now this one also, that impairment loss 175 breakdown of machine. This cannot be individually adjusted. Isolate cash generating units consist of. What is CV here? Carrying value. Right. Okay. So we use the word carried amount, right? So CA, right? Carried amount. And Dharana again, right? Dharana වටිනා ඒ වගේ පොඩි differences තියෙනවා, right? Carried amount, not carried. So you are given cash generating unit consists of building, machine, goodwill. Again here with this 50,000 breakdown machine. And so this is a little bit misleading because now we have to take the total value of the cash generating unit. Right? Now what is this 50,000? Actually, it seems this machine 25,000. Is that include this 50 or excluding this 50? Yeah, that is because here also machine, no? Here also machine, right? You got the point. ඒක පොඩක් පැහැදිලි වෙන්න ඕනේ, right? ඒ කියන්නේ machine වලින් එකක් breakdown වෙලා තියෙනවා. එතන ඒකේ write off එක කියනවා ඔයාලා මේක මෙතනටම ගන්න පුළුවන්. මේ දෙක කලංග දාලා machine breakdown and other. Right? The breakdown වෙච්ච එකේ 50,000 write off වෙනවා. මොකද දැන් මෙතන අනිත් එක තමයි දැන් this is you have fully write off this. Right? It doesn't say that fully write off. So better to say rather than saying this 50,000, but you have to say okay. Impairment loss 175, machine breakdown. Without mentioning this breakdown machine 50, you could have say okay, total machine 225. The recoverable amount of machine, like fair value less cost to sell of machine, is 175. right? So then you can identify, so they are impairment 50. Balance 100, you charge against the goodwill because you have goodwill 100,000. And 25 shared among others, right? So make a hurry, make go, make a vada, make a whenever line we have this is the total. Then you can have an additional information that carrying amount of machine 220, but is the total. Then the fair value less cost to sell of the entire machine is 175. Then you can identify the 50,000 impairment related to the machine, right? So that is the correct way. You take the machine total category, right? From that, you identify the recoverable amount. So now the recoverable amount is less. So that is the 50,000. Then you come to the reversal, right? So use some diagrams, right? With goodwill. So you have included some advanced examples. Good. And you touch we can't reverse the goodwill impairment because goodwill, once you write off, write back means internally generated goodwill. You can't recognize that. That fact also you mentioned, right? So basically, presentation good, right? So you are not deducted any marks for the small mistake that I have highlighted here because this effort is good, right? Comprehensively cover the standard, right? The marks are doing a presentation දේවල් වලට right? කියන්නේ fundamentally ලොකු issue එකක් නැහැ standard එකේ, right? Other than the small minor mistakes that which I have highlighted, right? So you can make those things corrected and come up with a good report, right? Okay. Right. Then we had second group. LKS 38 next group, right? LKS 38. Intangible asset. Yes, intangible asset group. Right. So slides are very good, right? Slide presentation wise, overall හුඟක් හොඳයි, right? Professional විදියට slides ටික තියෙනවා. Then you had the you started with the intangible asset definition, right? So good that you include some examples also there. Then this will be applicable for accounting except other standard financial asset, right? For that it's okay, normal score. Now recognition criteria. Now when it comes to recognition criteria, okay, probable future economic cost can be measured reliably. Then you make it actually the next part is the measurement, right? These two criteria recognition. Then you have to come to the measurement of intangible asset. Measurement of intangible asset initially at cost. That was missing in this slide. Recognition criteria, you could have keep these two, and this should come to the next slide. The measurement of intangible asset. Intangible assets are initially measured at cost. When it's come to cost, you are misled with this cost here. Recognition, you need not to able to measure the cost. Okay. These two are recognition criteria. Then how do we measure the intangible asset? Like PPE initially at cost. In determining that cost, we can discuss about cost at three levels: separate acquisition, exchange, not three, separate acquisition, exchange, internally generated. Then there's another one, important one, as a part of business combination, right? So even so you could have identified separate acquisition, exchange, internally generated, and as a part of business combination. There's another part as a grant, you can ignore that, right? So it's not highly applicable. So in a separate acquisition, I have taken as a part of business combination and under separate acquisition. That is wrong. Right? Separate acquisition means you purchase intangible asset, like you purchase a patent. Right? Then how to measure the cost? Standard separately discussed, that is very similar to the PPE. Right? You have the purchase price and any other related taxes, all those things. Part business combination, the cost equal to fair value at the date of acquisition. Right? As a part of business combination, cost equal to fair value at the date of this acquisition. So that means you acquire another entity. That entity had a patent. Right? So they have to measure fair value of that as the cost. Right? The government grant also, you have to take the fair value. Right? If you include that, also take as separate item. So if you take it separately, we have separate acquisition, part of business combination, part of government grant, exchange, and internally generated. 5. Those 5 we use to measure the cost. Separate acquisition, we can measure the cost. Business combination, cost equal to the fair value at the date of acquisition. Government grant, also fair value at the date of acquisition. Exchange, also fair value. But the cost එකක් නැහැ නේ. Fair value at the date of acquisition. Internally generated, we are incurring 2 types of costs. This is correctly explained: research and development. Research cost charged to B&M. Development cost you can capitalize as intangible asset when if certain conditions are met. Now here we have to say not certain. There are 6 conditions. After all 6 conditions are met, right? Because standard discourage the recognition of intelligent and intangible asset. All 6 conditions should be satisfied. Then only you can start the capitalization. Right? You have mentioned the conditions. You have to incorporate those 6 in the report and put some emphasis on that. Intangible asset can recognize the development cost can be capitalized to an intangible asset only when all the given 6 conditions are satisfied. අපි දුක conditions 6 4ක් satisfy වෙලා තියෙනවා කියලා ඒත් capitalize කරන්න S P&L charge. right? අපි අවුරුද්ද අන්තිමට බලනවා. right? අවුරුද්ද අන්තිම වෙනකොට ඒ අවුරුද්දේ research cost ඉක්ක කරලා තියෙනවා 5 million P&L. Development cost 5 million. Out of the conditions, only 4 satisfied. So that 5 million also charged to be. ඊළඟ අවුරුද්දේ මැදක් යනකොට තමයි all 6 conditions satisfied කියන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ තව 8 million ඉක් කරා නම් that is what we can capitalize. Right. So you have to incorporate examples for now this is here. You better incorporate examples for these different types. Separate acquisition, one example. At part of business combination, one example. Right? The government grant, you can just give the fair value, right? So you have to recognize that. Right? Then the exchange of asset. So all these you can incorporate separate examples to measure the cost. The research and development part, yes, you have included example. Then subsequent measurement, cost model and the revaluation model, same as property, plant and equipment. So this is okay. And you have to emphasize this fact. You have mentioned it. That revaluation of PPE, no restriction. Business can follow the cost model or revaluation model. Intangible asset also we have cost model and the revaluation model. But to follow the revaluation model, you have to determine the revalued amount only when there is active market for intangible asset. This is very rare. You market means you can have the market price readily available. So if you take a patent, you don't have active market, right? Used softwares may not have active market, right? Computer softwares, ERP system, accounting packages, which is used, we are using, right? 2 years used software, you don't have active market, right? Internal developed software, you don't have active market. So revaluation is possible, something like franchise, certain license. Now, Sri Lanka, we had this vehicle permit, intangible asset, right? There were time period, it has active market, right? Bar permit, road permit, those are active market. Then if you take foreign context, there are a lot of franchise, right? These franchises, so franchise for KFC, right? Pizza Hut, right? So McDonald's, likewise, but what is available in Sri Lanka, likewise, there are some franchise. You can use their name and run the business according to that plan. So those franchises, sometimes they are having the active market, some trading. So those type of intangible asset only you can apply the revaluation model. We have covered it, but in the report you better more emphasize it, right? Then the revaluation entry. So this is basically same as PPE. Then you can incorporate some examples for revaluation also, right? So it is very same as PPE revaluation, right? So you know how to count for the PPE revaluation. Instead of plant or machinery, you can change it as a franchise or some license, okay? And include that into the report. Example. Then intangible asset with the limited useful life, you have to amortize, and indefinite useful life, no amortization, and need to conduct impairment test, right? Impairment test or impairment gain, impairment loss, impairment test, and no gain. Right? Impairment means either decrease, right? Impairment test is decrease if the recoverable amount exceed already already impairment, but we don't call it a gain, it's a reversal of the loss, right? So impairment, loss, or maybe a reversal, right? So then you discuss about amortization, that is basically a little bit of flow is not there. So maybe that you have followed the standard wording, because the standard, the sections also you have this this flow is not there, but you have to arrange it into a report in more, I mean, more systematic way, right? සමහරවිට ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එකේ තියෙන ඕඩර් එකම ෆලෝ කරන්න ගියාම ඔය ප්‍රශ්නේ නෑ. මොකද ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එකේ තර ටික මුලින් කියලා ඊට පස්සේ තමයි වෙනම කතා කරන්නේ. දැන් මෙතන ඔයගොල්ලෝ කතා කරනවා ආපහු amortization එක, right? amortization එක මුලින් ගන්න කැඩින amount එක ගන්න දැනම කියලා මේ ටික කියලා ඊට පස්සේ ඔයාලට එන්න තිබුණා රීවැලියු කියලා කියනවා. The impairment that is covered by the other group basically. Reka ඔයගොල්ලෝ කතා කරා. Okay. Right. So overall good, right? But you have to improve in the report mainly more examples, more numerical examples, right? That is examples make add කරන්න. Right. Group 3 LKS 40. LKS 40. Anyone joining online LKS 40 in order? Yes, case 40. On you. Yes, okay. Right. We have to take the case 40. Okay. Fairly good content to cover basically the standard with what is investment property, initial measurement, subsequent measurement, and transfer of intangible asset also. So one thing is now when you're using this dark background, right, you have to you could have easily increased this font size. Try to use the maximum something like this, right? So because dark background, white font, okay, that is one way, right? But then font size should be little larger. It is more easily visible for the audience. And I see little bit of formatting, right? Lack of formatting of these slides. For an example, on content page, you have everything in caps locks, right? Capital letters, right? So then now here also you have some headings, right? So you could have used something like this to differentiate it, since you have shown this way, right? That could be more easier for the audience to identify. Invest property is property held for earned rental or for capital acquisition or both, right? So the definition correct. Then type of investment property, this is good, right? So this is good. This is something that you bring into the attention if the audience follow it, right? So they identified some type of investment property, like land purchased and held for undetermined future use. Then it's not PPP, it is intangible asset. Here, this is another small technical error. Buildings leased under operating lease. Lease means building. You have to mention when you are explaining. It seems that you understood it is the building you lease. No, this is the your building you lease out for someone else. Right? This is not the building acquired for a lease. This is a building you lease out to some other party under operating lease. So that is operating lease means rent. Right? You are giving a lease, land or building on rent. Rent or the lease is the same in substance. So because this example, it's a purchase. It's not a purchase, right? That should be correct. Then land with the long-term capital appreciation purpose, good, right? Yes, properties constructed for the future use of investment property. Vacant property held for use for operating leases, right? So what we were using, now it is vacant. Now we are planning to give it under operating leases. So there you have to emphasize that we keep it to provide as operating leases. Operating leases means rent, right? Then the recognition principle say for any asset, future economic benefits will flow to the entity and cost can be measured reliably. Initially, measured at cost, cost, purchase price, and directly attributable expenses. Now, in the report, you have to bring some numerical example for this, right? You have to have some example, right? Purchase and investment property, land and building, like these type of extra cost we have incurred. So we can show this is the total cost at initial measurement. Then yes, these cannot be included. That is okay. Here you have this example. No? That's okay. So you have this example. Then you have fair value model and cost model. Here, the examples were missing for this fair value model. Subsequent measurement. You can use the same example for the initial measurement that is there in the presentation, but subsequent measurement, no examples missing, right? You have to use two examples for one cost model, one evaluation model, right? One cost model, one evaluation model, numerical example. Then this transfer part again good, right? We covered the transfer of investment property from owner-occupied investment property to owner-occupied property. Then investment property to inventory. Owner-occupied property to investment property. Inventory to investment property. And you explain that with some examples, so that part is good, right? And you had the summary of accounting treatment also. So this is good. Right? So there that you explain some example in the report, you can incorporate those explanations into the report, right? Here you explain with some examples, right? This is for an example, now transfer from investment property to owner-occupied property. That means you had a building, you purchased without any intention for using. So you keep it for rent purpose. Later, business decide to shift your office or some branch to that particular place. So then it becomes PPE or owner-occupied property other than investment property. So likewise, I can remember that you came up with some explanations, right? So you can have that explanation into your report. Okay, right? Other than those small areas, it's okay, right? So you can cover this with examples in your report. Then group number 4. Next group. Fernando Hevapatidana, Jayakirti, Nali, what topic? Baram, we have not mentioned the topic here. Right. Baram question. Okay, right. So presentation slides very good, right? Very professional formatting, right? So good, right? Without too much text, you use some diagram, pictures, tables, right? So it's good. So we'll go to the content. Core principle, right? So borrowing cost directly attributable to acquisition, construction, production of qualifying asset. Qualifying asset charged to P&L. Qualifying asset capitalized. Other borrowing costs recognized the P&L. Right? So then scope, okay. Borrowing costs include examples we have identified. Qualifying asset can be any, right? Maybe building, right? Machinery, intangible asset, inventory, right? So this is good. Then short period of time is not qualifying asset. Qualifying asset borrowing costs need to be capitalized. Then you identified these borrowings, two categories: specific borrowings, general borrowings. So specific borrowings, yes, the borrowing cost minus any investment income. So here we have identified some example. Then the capitalization rate, the application. So you had some examples. Take the capitalization. Then the period of capitalization, commencement, suspension, and succession. Right. So when to start here, you have some example. Suspension. So content good, right? You include some examples also that identified of the borrowing cost to be capitalized. Yes. So content is very good, right? So you have to stop the capitalization when the asset is ready for use. That ready for use does not include these minor things, right? Notice board, fireboard. Those things may not be complete, but still it is available for use, right? So you have to stop the capitalization part. So overall content good, right? Presentations, yes, good. There were small deviation among the students, but basically okay. In the report, now here you have small scenarios to explain this capitalization part. Finally, you better have one complete scenario, right? Capitalization of borrowing cost, mixing all these commencement date, suspension, right? And completion date with that specific borrowing, general borrowing, right? So one scenario to summarize, right? You can have a summary of all these within one activity, because other small parts you have small activities, right? So overall picture, you can bring in one activity. That is the one thing you can additionally incorporate into the report. Others, what we have explained, right, we have incorporated in your report, right? Basically, content wise very good, right? So covered all required content. Then next, yeah, that is case 8. LKS 8, okay, so you basically cover the 3 areas in the standards, but slides, you could see that if you compare to the previous presentation, right? Too much text, right? Make a text product, that is where you need to come up with your creativity, reduce the text in the slide. Because when you have full text in the slide, right, so then you tend to read the slide, right? But you have the bullet point, main point, then you have to explain, right? So no need to have the objective, all these, right? The scope, okay, this is okay. Then what is accounting policy? What is change in accounting estimate? Yes, that definition you have to bring it, right? The definition එක අපි short කරන්න බෑ. Definition එක දැම්මම කමක් නැහැ, right? අනිත් area වල තව ටිකක් text එක අඩු කරන්න තිබුණා. අනිත් දැන් මේ ඔක්කොම ටික මුලින් definitions ටික දාන්නේ නැතු මේ standard එකේ format එකේ. You could have explained about accounting policy. First, you can keep the accounting policy definition, and you can explain about accounting policy treatment, right? In the report, you better follow that order. එහෙම නැත්නම් අර standard එක repeat කරන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ standard එකේ text එක එහෙමම ගත්තා. Right? LKS 8. Okay. So in the report, you can arrange first accounting policy. So you can have accounting policy definition, and you can explain with accounting policy selection, accounting policy change. When it comes to accounting for accounting policy change, there you define retrospective application, right? Rather than having all these definitions at once. Because when it comes to presentation, then this part become little bit maybe little bit you can't keep the audience, right? Because you're just defining certain terms that is not directly related. But when you say accounting policies and then you explain about all these, then you go to the accounting estimate, changes in accounting estimate, you define it there. Right? That approach you can follow to your report as well. Then this is good, right? Selection of accounting policy, these slides. So it summarize how you can select an accounting policy. Here you made a small mistake. This depreciation method. Depreciation method is treated as accounting estimate, right? Standard specifically mentioned this. The depreciation method is not a selection like FIFO weighted average. Depreciation means systematic allocation of depreciable amount of asset over the useful life. When you are systematically allocate, your allocation should be in line with your best estimate of consumption of economic benefit. So if we expect economic benefit of asset equally consumed, our estimation is every year we will equally use economic benefit. Then that is called straight line method. So our estimate is whether we equally take economic benefit. That is an estimation. It's not like selecting FIFO and weighted average, right? So this example, you better take something like FIFO weighted average for inventory. Same example, you can say first year entity to measure cost of inventory, you use first year FIFO, next year weighted average, again FIFO, again weighted average. That is not accurate, right? So you can adjust that in your report. Then change in accounting policy. When the standard revised accounting policy change, this example is correct, but you have to explain in your report. In presentation, you did not explain what is the change. Then LK 17, from lessee's point of view, operating lease, we did not recognize right of use asset. Operating lease, entire lease payment, charge as expense, no lease liability, no right of use asset. But with SLFRS 16, we discuss here, right? SLFRS 16, we had it now. So there, we don't worry about lessee's point whether it's operating or finance. Right of use asset, we charge to be, right? Right of use asset we identify based on the present value of the future lease payment. So to make it explain correct, right? So this is correct. මේ slide එක හරි මේ part එක explain උනේ නෑ, right? එච්චරයි තියෙන්නේ. The transitional provision එකක් තියෙනවා එදා ඉඳලා ගන්නවා. Then policy change more relevant and reliable based on management decision. මේකටත් example එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන් අර FIFO weighted average mark කරන එකක් වගේ එකක්. Stand එකේ ක්‍රම දෙකම තියෙනවා. අපි එකකින් තව එකකට shift වෙනවා. Then we have to apply retrospective application. Right? මේ diagram එක හරියටම හරි. Make transformation එකක් නැත්නම් ආයෙ restricted application, right? The report එකේදී මේක examples දෙක හොඳට මේ දෙකටම examples දෙකක් explain කරන්න. Right. Then you correctly explain this retrospective application for accounting policy, and this is good, right? Make a partner financial statement එක statement of financial position තවත් අවුරුද්දක් තුන්වෙනි අවුරුද්දත් පෙන්නනවා කියන එක. Normally comparative current year last year, right? We'll make example එකක් අරන් තිබුණා, that is good. The retrospective application එක impracticable adjust the equity beginning of the comparative period. මෙන්න මෙතන පොඩි technical issue එකක් තියෙනවා. retrospective application කියන්නේ apply the new policy from the past. right? ඒතර ඒක පුළුවන් තරම් පස්සට යන්න. ඒක නතර කරන තැන තමයි impactable. දැන් අපි උදාහරණයක් ගමු. We change our accounting policy of measuring cost of inventory from weighted average cost to FIFO method. So you have to measure inventory end of this year, end of last year, end of previous year. Likewise, you continuously go. But you may not have that inventory detail for 10 years. So you have only for 4 years. Then you stop at 4 years. That's it. ඒක නිසා නෙමෙයි equity beginning of comparative period කියන්නේ. මේක එන්නේ when you show the statement of changes in equity, always we are showing this year and the comparative last year. So any impact of changing accounting policy prior to the comparative period, you have to show the accumulated impact to the opening retainer. Right? ඒක impactable කතාව නිසා නෙමෙයි එන්නේ. කොහොමද අපි පෙන්නන්නේ statement changes in equity අවුරුදු දෙකක්. ඒත් ගිය අවුරුද්දේ profit එක වෙනස් කරලා පෙන්නන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට කලින් අවුරුද්දේ profit එක ඊටත් කලින් අපි අවුරුදු 4ක අපි adjust කරගත්තා. 4න් එහාට යන්න බෑ impact. ඒත් පළවෙනි අවුරුද්දේ මේ අවුරුද්දේ කලින් අවුරුද්දේ අපි පෙන්නනවා statement of changes in equity profit එක adjust කරලා. ඊට කලින් අවුරුදු දෙකේ profit එකට වෙන බලපෑම retained earning වලට net adjust කරලා තමයි පෙන්නන්නේ. Right? In any case, that impracticable retrospective බැරිම නම් කලාතුරකින් වෙලාවක prospectively යන්න. ඒක හරියි. එන්න මෙතන අර adjusting being comparative කියන එක අදාළ වෙන්නේ impracticable කතාවට නෙමෙයි. right? එතන තියෙන පොඩි mistake. මේ limitation එක දැන් මේ වගේ තැන්වල තියෙනවා එකක් තමයි මේකේ text එක වැඩි. ඊළඟට මෙතනත් ගත්තේ depreciation එක. දැන් depreciation එක මෙතනට ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ. නේ? depreciation method එක estimate change එකක්. ඒතර එතන අපි retrospective apply කරන්නේ නැහැ. Current depreciation we are not going to change. If we change from straight line to reducing balance, from this year only we continue with the reducing balance. Previous depreciation we are not going to revise. So මේ example එක වෙනස් වෙන්න ඕනේ. Then you have some disclosures, that is okay. Then accounting estimate changes. There is what is accounting estimate? ඊළඟට ඔයාලට පුළුවන් report එකේ estimate කියන එක define කරලා estimates වලට යම් examples ටිකක් දීලා estimate change එක definition එක ගෙනල්ලා right. ඒකට examples ගේන්න. Right here you see some examples. Then accounting estimate changes. So here you take some example, right? With a useful life එකයි residual value එකයි. and මෙතනදී example එකේ පැහැදිලිව කියනවා දැන් useful life එක 23 years කියලා කියනවා. ඔයාලා මේක උදාහරණයක් ගත්තේ remaining useful life. Useful life can be original useful life. Original 2023 කරා නෙමෙයි. මේ example එකට අනුකූල කරලා තියෙන්නේ 20 තිබුණා. අවුරුදු දෙකක් depreciate කරා. remaining useful life එක තමයි 23. නැත්නම් ගත්ත original useful life එක 25 කරා. the 25 වලින් දෙකක් ගියා. තව 23 විතර තමයි ගන්න හදලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක එක්ක මෙතන දාන්න ඕනේ. useful life, original useful life revised as 25 or remaining useful life now it is 18 changed to 23. right? ඒක explanation එකට එන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් එතන මම මේක activity එක හොඳයි, example එක හොඳයි. එතන අර නොදන්න කෙනෙක් පොඩ්ඩක් mislead වෙනවා මේක අහන් ඉන්නකොට. මේ 23 කිව්වහම මේ this is remaining useful life after 2 years. right? ඒක explain කරනවා. right. ඊළඟට error part එක නම් මදි presentation එකේදී touch වුණා. right? errors වලට examples මොකුත් නැහැ. right? ඒක අන්තිමයට දාලා present කරන්න. හරි. ඉතින් මේක explain කරන්න. right error කිව්වහම prior period error. What is prior period error කියන එක කලින් කතා කරා. ඒකත් report එකේ මෙතනට ගේන්න පුළුවන්. the prior period error එකක් තියෙනකොට prior period එක correct කරන්න ඕනේ retrospectively. You have to change you have to correct the prior period. අර වගේමයි. දැන් ඒකට example එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. right prior period error. මොකක් වෙලාවට lazy ගන්න ඔය මොනවා හරි capitalize කරන්න ඕනේ එකක් P&L charge කරලා. P&L charge කරන්න ඕනේ expense එකක් capitalize කරලා. ඒ වගේ එකක්. right ඔය වගේ examples මොන තරම් internet එකකින් ඔයාලට හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්. right අපි તો building එකකට අලුතෙන් part එකක් add කරනවා. ඒක ඇත්තටම capitalize වෙනවා. right මේගොල්ලෝ building maintenance expense වලට දානවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් building maintenance වලට දාපු වියදම බිලියන එකට capitalize කරනවා. ඔය වගේ error එකක් අවුරුදු කිහිපයකට බලන්න. ඒතකොට ඒක පහුගිය අවුරුදු වල ඉඳලා adjust කරන් එනවා. එතනදිත් අර කතාව වෙනවා last year එක profit එක adjust කරලා පෙන්නන්න පුළුවන් prior to that you could have added that into the retained earning opening. So we have to incorporate examples for error correction, right, in your report. Right. Then Jayanta Gunatilaka Pereira Silva. What is it, okay? Right. LQ is 24. Right. Good slides හොඳයි. Right. මෙන්න මේ වගේ slides වල තව පොඩ්ඩක් මේවා හොඳයි ඔක්කොම. Right. මේ scenarios ටිකට වෙනම diagrams හදලා තියෙනවා. Right. මේ disclosures වගේ මේක font එක මේ වගේ එකක් බලන්න slide දෙකකට ගන්න පුළුවන් ලීසි. Right. ඒතර ඇත්තට මේ ස්ටෑන්ඩ් එකේ මේන්ලි කරන්න තියෙන්නේ related parties අඳුන ගන්න එක තමයි. Who are the related party? Related party individual or entity. Right? එතනදී දැන් individuals වලට එද්දී ඔයගොල්ලෝ අර you try to your concept okay you explain all these who has the individual control joint control significant influence, but you can't put that within one example because you see that ABC PLC 80% acquired by B, then you can't have 50% to C. They 130 and method 40, 170%. Right? You try to take all these into one example. You could have several examples, one each. Right? The report take it ඒක හැදෙන්නේ. මේ concept එක හරියට explain කරා. Right? Related party. Then Mr. A, ABC ගත්තා, Mr. A ගත්තා, A is a related party. Right? You got my point? මේ පළවෙනි එකේ එන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා නම් මේවා ගන්න බෑ. ඩිරෙක්ට් ගන්න පුළුවන්. මේ දෙක එන්න බෑ. Mr. A and Mr. E are related party කියලා ගන්න. Right? ඊළඟ එකේ 50% තියෙනවා C ට joint control with some other party. Then you can say Mr. C. You can say that's BPLC, some other entity, right? It's a related part. So you could have taken several scenarios. And then make all of explain කරන්නේ දැන් direct මෙතන තව examples ගේන්න පුළුවන්. Close family members. Right? Related part. Mr. E director. Mrs. E ගත්තා කවුරුත් නෙමෙයි වෙන්න පුළුවන් මෙතන but you can take as a related part. Right? So likewise this diagram, you can disaggregate this. You can have something like 5 charts to identify 5 different individuals. පහක් හයක් මෙතන අඳුර ගන්න. Right? What we have done here. දැන් මෙතන එකින් එකට දැන් මෙතන එකේ අඳින්න බැරි නිසා මෙතන එකින් එකට අරගෙන තියෙනවා. Right? ඒකම මෙතනටත් කරන්න තියෙනවා. මේකේ content එක හරියි. මේ diagram එකේ තමයි කියන්නේ same entity you can understand it, no? Right? You can't have 80%, 50%, 40%, 80% කියනවා තව 20% ඉදිරි වෙන්න. ඒක example එක එතනින් ඉවරයි. Right? But content wise you explain it correctly, right? Individuals as well as entities. Right? ඒක බොහොම හොඳට අරගෙන තිබුණා සහ ඒ explanation එකක් තිබුණා. ඊට පස්සේ related party transactions. The transactions ටික ඔයගොල්ලෝ වෙනම ගත්තා. In the report, you can have some scenario with related party and transactions. Right? අර වගේ related party කියන්නේ පොඩි case පොඩි scenario එකක් දාලා මේක explain කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපිට මේ shareholder loan එකක් අරන්. Right? එහෙම නැත්නම් director කෙනෙක්ට business එක අපි business එක vehicle නම් කරන vehicle එකක් කරනවා. Already. අර ඔය වගේ මේතන ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ කතා කරපු දේවල් ටික අර examples වලට relate කරපු scenario එකක් හදන්න. In the report. After explaining all these. So through that you can identify the related party and the transaction and what are the disclosures. So that can summarize the entire stand. Got the point? Right? That improvement you can make. Right. Then Gayani, Dilum, Harsha, maybe those who are doing online. That. දැන් ගත්තේ නැත්තේ SLFRS for SME, right? SLFR for SME, I think those who are doing online. That SLFRS for SME. Better than yes, can raise the hand or can just type in the chat. Okay, right. So we come to the SLFRS for SME. Right. So SME, now you basically cover certain standards, and there you explain both the full SLFRS and SME standard. Slide formatting, you could have better format it is, right? For the make a pay on presentation slides වල නොතිබිය යුතු. දැන් ඔයාලා අනිත් අය presentation දකින්න ඇති. මේකේ බොහොම right කෙනෙක් finally formatting කරලා නැති ගතිය පේනවා. right? ඒක විදිහට තියෙනවා. right? ඒක size, font size, colors, right? ඒක weakness එකක් when it comes to group presentation. Then other one is now you select some particular sections. That is okay because you can't present the entire standard. It has so many, but you did not mention it in the presentation. Right? Presentation එකේදී ඔයාලා කියන්න ඕනේ ඒක. මම අපි මෙන්න මේ sections ටික විතරයි තෝරගත්තේ present කරන්න. Then the main issue is some of these you selected, there are no major differences, but you have selected. Right? දැන් උදාහරණයක් employee benefits වල පොඩ්ඩක් තියෙනවා. පොඩි ඩිෆරන්ස් එකක් තියෙනවා. property plant and equipment ගත්තොත් ඇත්තටම overall difference එකක් නැහැ. SLFRS for SME and full standard. Originally, SLFRS for SME did not allow revaluation, but that limitation was subsequently lifted, right? ඒ නිසා ඊළඟ දැන් ඔයාලා මේ එතකොට දැන් මේ ස්කෝප් එක මෙතනදී measurement criteria එක මේ වගේ කතා කරන එකේ ලොකු relevance එකක් නැහැ. ඒ right? දැන් උදාහරණයක් component depreciation වගේ එකක් අරගෙන SME එක කතා කරන එකත් අදාළ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද aircraft එකක කියන එක SME එකට අදාළ වෙන්නේ තියෙන chance එක අඩුයි. right? aircraft තියෙන SME එකක් අපිට ගන්න අමාරුයි. මේ වෙනුවට බලන්න ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? You could have easily take some other standard where you may find some major difference. Borrowing cost good, right? Intangible asset good, right? ඊළඟට ඔයාලට තිබුණා මේකට ගේන්න විශේෂයෙන් ඔය investment in associate වගේ එකක්. එතන තියෙන ලොකු වෙනසක් SME වලට විතරක් අදාළ වෙන, right? ඔයාලට PP වෙනුවට දැන් ඊළඟට ඔයාලා මෙතන කියන්න ඕනේ in the content at the beginning of your report you have mentioned SME standard covering number of standards in the all the standards in the full SLFRS. Here we have sections, but in this report you are considering only these sections because those sections are having some major differences compared with full SLFRS. Right? The employee benefits come up nahe, borrowing cost, intangible asset. Related party ආය අදාළ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Related party වල එහෙම ලොකු වෙනසක් නැහැ. Right? ඒ වෙනකොට ඔයාලට ගන්න තිබුණා financial asset වගේ එකක්. Financial assets. Where you can take more. Right? Like LKS 38 දැන් මේක හොඳයි. Right? මේ comparison එක හොඳයි. මේකේ තියෙනවා research එක ගන්න බැරි එක ඊළඟට revaluation model ගන්න බැරි වෙන එක, right? ඒ වගේ and you had some examples also. දැන් මේ කොටස සෑහෙන හොඳයි මේ වෙනස්කම් ටික අඳුනගන්න. Now related party ගත්තොත් it is basically the same, right? ලොකු වෙනස්කම් අපිට ගන්න බෑ. ඊළඟ leasing ගත්තාමත් එහෙම. මේක ඔයාලා මම හිතන්නේ ඔරිජිනල් ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එකේ තියෙනවා මේ revaluation model එක prohibit කරපු එකකින් තමයි මෙතන පොඩ්ඩක් අටලගෙන තියෙන්නේ. නමුත් ඒක 2012 වගේ මම මතක SME එක මුලින්ම ආවේ. ඊපස්සේ 2015 වගේ එක amendment එකක් ආවා. right? ඒතර දැන් revalue කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ආයේ ලොකු difference එකක් එන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා what I suggest you in your report you remove the PPE part and related party and the leasing. Instead, you can keep employee benefit, borrowing cost, intangible asset. You can incorporate investment in associate and you can incorporate financial assets. Right? Financial assets. In addition to that, you can incorporate, there are certain sections, right? Certain type of standards not applicable for SME, like no earning per share, no interim reporting. ඒ වගේ තියෙනවා මේන් වෙනස්කම්. බුල් SLFRS වල තියෙන සමහර ඒවාට ස්ටෑන්ඩ්ස් වලට සෙක්ෂන් අදාළම නැහැ. අනේ ඒ ටික ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ගේන්න පුළුවන් report. Yes. Right? එනිසා මේ ටික වෙනස් කරන්න මේකට ගේන්න associate and financial ඊට අමතරව ගේන්න ආරම්භයේදී ගන්න පුළුවන් there are certain areas covered in full SLFRS are not covered. And you have to mention the initial part. This SLFRS try to simplify the full SLFRS, right? Yeah, what are SMEs? Then ඒවා නෑ මේක. Right? report එකේ එන්න ඕන what are the SMEs? right? SME කියන ඉස්සලා define කරලා SME වලට වැටෙනව මොනවද? කාටද මේ stand එක applicable වෙන්නේ? ඊළඟට SME stand එක කොහොමද simplify කරන්නේ? simplify කරන ක්‍රම කීපයක් තියෙනවා. එකක් තමයි disclosure requirement අඩු කරනවා. ඊට accounting treatment කීපයක් තියෙනකොට simplest accounting treatment is suggested by SME stand. Right? Likewise, there are some methods. ඒ ටික initially ගෙනල්ලා ඊට පස්සේ ඔයාලා මම කිව්වා වගේ මේතන තුනයි investment associate and financial asset කියන දෙකත් එක්ක content එක in the report you can cover. Right? Okay. Then we have the last group. That is conceptual frame. That also I think joining from the conceptual framework, not clear, right? Maybe online. Yes, conceptual framework. Okay. Right. දැන් මෙතනදී we බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ conceptual framework for financial reporting. Basically what is existing framework. හැබැයි ඔයාලා අරන් තියනවා මේ evolution එකත් එක්ක, right? Original conceptual framework එකත් එක්ක good, right? ඊට පස්සේ the object the slides හොඳයි, right? පුළුවන් තරම් tables, diagrams ඒ වගේ දේවල් වලින් use කරලා තියෙනවා, right? text එක අඩු කරන්න සෑහෙන try කරලා තියෙනවා. මොකද framework එක කිව්වහම ටිකක් text තියෙන තැනක්, නමුත් ඒක ඔයගොල්ලෝ සෑහෙන හොඳ උත්සාහයක් කරලා තියෙනවා. right? මේකේ සමහර slides ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගත්ත slides තියෙනවා මම කිව්වේ, right? I know that original creator of some of these slides also, right? Now, ඒක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ as long as you present it appropriately. දැන් මෙතන ගත්තොත් මේක හැදෙන්න ඕනේ font එක එකයි මේක tally වෙන්නේ. මේවා පුංචි mistakes හැබැයි, right? ඒවා බලන්න ඕනේ නැහැ, right? Then qualitative characteristics, right? This is okay. Fundamental and enhancing. Now this one, this is not in the framework. Objective, then the conceptual framework, now we have to, you can't bring some general things, right? Framework එකේ මේවා නැහැ. Right? මේකත් නැහැ. framework එක මේ balance sheet, income statement මේවට පාවිච්චි වෙන්නේ කොහොමද පාවිච්චි වෙන්නේ නැහැ. right? මේක ඔයාලා generally අරන්. මේවා අයින් කරන්න. right? You take the qualitative characteristics, ඊළඟට going concern assumption. right? මේක අර flow එක 100 MB වෙන. ඊට පස්සේ going concern assumption එක okay. And I mean, මෙතනදිත් can remember now we have buys inventory 20 washing machine, each costing 100,000 during the year. 17 machine sold. The remaining machine value කරන්නේ කොහොමද? If he forced to close down the business at the end of the year, and the remaining machines will be realized only 60,000 each in the forced sale. He tend to continue. Right. Okay. Right. අද මේක කියනවා මේක 150 මෙතනක් කියන්න පුළුවන් right continue කරනවා නම් මේක NRV එක වැඩි වෙනවා 100,000 වලට වඩා. right. okay. මේක ටිකක් මේ content එක තියෙනවා හැබැයි මේක මේකට ලස්සනට explain කරන්න. Then reporting entity okay. Financial statement elements. So these are basically the definitions. මේවා එහෙම තව ටිකක් මේක නිකන් කෙලින්ම ටෙක්ස්ට් එක නැතුව මේක අඩු ගන්න වෙනම අර කලින් ඕගොල්ලෝ කරා වගේ මේ වගේ බොක්ස් එකකට වගේ දාලා මේක මේ key elements ටිකනේ. right. This slide should have been improved. Then the recognition. And the derecognition. Measurement content okay, right? Fair value, value in use, and you have make some examples, right? You better take examples for these measurement basis to covering all these historical cost, current value, fair value, value in use, current cost. මේ තුනයි historical cost එකයි. එන විදිහට examples 4ක් වගේ add කරන්න පුළුවන්. Then you take this presentation and distribution. This again. Okay. Right. Now here, now this is okay. And this one, the make I LTS one only currently. In scope එක limit කර ගන්න ඕනේ. හැම වෙලේම when it's come to conceptual framework, right? The conceptual framework එකේ නෙමෙයි මේක කතා කරන්නේ. මේක කතා කරන්නේ LTS1. දැන් මේ slide එක ආයෙ disturb කරනවා flow එක. right? මෙහෙම එකක් කොහෙවත්ම නැහැ. right? මේක තනිකරම මේ US gap එකකින් අරගෙන තියෙනවා. right? IAS උත් දෙන්නේ. right? This is out of the conceptual framework. You have to refer original framework. right? Original conceptual framework එක refer කරන්න. එහෙම නැති වුණාම තමයි මේ ගැටලුව එන්නේ. ඒක slide number 25, 26 totally out. right? 26, 27, right? Then you took some benefits and limitation. That is okay. That is not there in the conceptual framework, right? But when you are presenting conceptual framework, discussing benefits and limitation, okay. But then you have to explain it, right? Now, report එකේ මේක තියෙනවා නම් මේක explain කරන්න. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයගලන්ට මේක සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේ framework එකේ තියෙන content එකෙන් නවත්තන්න පුළුවන්. right? The capital and capital maintenance part of it. I think that part also mentioned somewhere. Benefits මොකද ඒක එනවා නම් අන්තිමට වෙන්න ඕන framework එක ඉවර වුණාට පස්සේ ඒක. මේක නෑ framework එකේ. But it is okay that you can present the benefits and the limitation, but not just the heading, right? Then presentation එක මේක නිකන් කියුවා විතරයි. දැන් කියන්න ඕනේ මොකක්ද how it's become burden to small entities, right? What is mean by conceptual framework as an economic focus, right? ඒක explain කරන්න. So we did not have that in the presentation. If you want to keep the 2 slides, you have to incorporate the details in your report. Otherwise, you can stop with this capital and capital maintenance concept that you can further elaborate with, and you can stop the report at that point, right? Okay, right. So your group report generally normal assignment writing guidelines. මම වෙනම guideline දෙන්න ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් තියෙන time frame roman 12 font size ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඕනම assignment එකක පාවිච්චි කරන guideline තියෙන්නේ. එකම දේ the report you can have from 10 to 20 pages A4, right? A4 size එකට soft copy එකකින් අපි ගන්න 10 to 20 pages the body of the report, right? මොකද සමහර standards පොඩි ඒ නිසා ඒකට පිටු 10කින් වගේ cover කරන්න පුළුවන්. සමහර standards වල examples එහෙම එනකොට 20 යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක්ට මොකක් හරි එකකින් දෙකක් තුනක් පිටු එහාට යා ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ, right? සමහර standards මම දැක්කම ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ presentation එකේ හොඳ content cover කරපු සමහර අය ඉන්නවා, right? When they try to incorporate all these examples and answers explanation, right? 22ක් 23ක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Too much length කරන්න, right? General guideline you can keep as 10 to 20 pages, right? So report is due on 1st July, 2 weeks from today. I will have the link in the elements, right? That's good. Right. So with that, now we are going to move to the company financial statement. We finish the last week standard, right? Abhi. LMS Your 16D exemption, right? So we had financial instrument, accounting for leases, income tax, employee benefit, right? Main standards අපි හතරක් cover කරලා තියෙනවා දැන්. ඊට අමතරව දැන් intangible asset impairment, accounting policies, estimate changes, errors, ඊට පස්සේ borrowing cost, right? ඔය ටික ඇත්තටම මේ company account adjustment වලදී අපි නැවත කතා කරමු, right? The මේ presentation එකෙන් අර SLFRS for SME එකයි conceptual framework එකයි company question එක වෙන්නේ නැහැ. related party disclosure එකයි, right? අපි අනිත් topics ටික adjustment වල නැවත කතා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ වගේ adjustment level එකට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට දැනගන්න ඕනේ everyone. Right. So then we'll come to the today's topic, company financial statement. So you all are coming from some accounting background, right? So you have right. So we'll take this company account activity. I hope that you are basically familiar with normal company financial statements, right? Statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, statement of financial position, right? So structures and all, right? මතක නැත්නම් අපි මේ activity එක හදද්දී ආව මතක් කරගන්න පුළුවන්, right? Because of the limited time, I'm not going to take a separate session to explain you the structure and all, right? We will straight away start with the activity. Right. So you were given the trial balance of Gold PLC 31st March 2023, stated capital ordinary shares, retained earning opening balance, revaluation reserve, financial asset, right of use asset, land, building, motor vehicle, office equipment, cost of sales, accumulated depreciation, provision for income tax, these are opening balances, inventory, cash and bank, trade receivable, trade payable, we have a debenture, distribution, admin, finance, other expenses, other income, income tax, dividend paid for ordinary shares. Then we have additional information. As per the accounting record, stated ordinary share capital of the company 31st March 2023 consists of 1.6 million shares issued at 200 each. Company made a public issue 600 shares at 200 each on 1st October, and which has been properly accounted. Further, company capitalized retained earnings, that is, made a bonus issue by issuing 1 share for every 5 shares held at rupees 300 each. However, no accounting entries were made. එහෙනම් මෙන්න මේක දැන් ගන්න record. Right? මේක අපිට adjust කරන්න වෙනවා. In the statement of changes in equity, we have to show the public issue and the capitalization of reserve both. And now the closing share capital is wrong because that is without accounting for this capitalization of reserve. Like retained earning converted into share capital, they have not accounted for it. Then we have financial asset represent investment in 200,000 ordinary shares of Candy PLC at 130. Transaction cost 400,000 added to the cost. So you see that 113 into 200 plus 400, 23,000. That is what we find in the trial balance, 23,000. Right? 113 into 200 plus 400 transaction cost. The market price of share end of the year 125. Company held for these shares for trading purpose. So if the shares held for trading purpose, this investment should be classified as financial asset at fair value through P&L. If it is fair value through P&L, you can't capitalize the transaction cost. That should charge to P&L. Then the 130 now increased to 125. The resulting gain, we can take that also to the P&L. Whether after adjustment they got current. One is they have erroneously capitalized the transaction cost of a financial asset at fair value through P&L. So you have to reverse it. And then we have to make the year-end fair value adjustment. Company entered into lease agreement and obtained right to use of a motor vehicle for a period of 5 years. According to the lease agreement, 5.5 million down payment made. Paid a down payment 5.5 million. Initial measurement of lease liability 10.5 million. Annual lease installment 3.5 million, including 1.1 million interest paid. Both down payment and the lease installment debited to right of use asset. So we have right of use asset 9,000. This 9,000 is not real right of use asset. 9,000 consists of down payment. Okay, you can credit cash, debit right of use asset. They have not recognized the lease liability. So lease liability, this should be credited to lease liability and debited to right of use asset. They haven't done that. Instead, the installment, this is 10.5 million, should be capitalized. Right of use asset debit, lease liability credit. They haven't done that. The lease installment should credit cash and debit lease liability. They have debited that into the right of use. So 5.5 plus 3.5, 9,000. Right? 5,500, 3,500. 9,000 recorded as right of use asset. So you have to make the correction. Identify the correct right of use asset, then the lease liability, then the repayment of lease liability, identify the interest, and depreciate the right of use asset. So this is a motor vehicle for a period of 5 years lease. So when you don't have a useful life, if the useful life separately given, we can consider the time period for depreciation. But if no useful life, then lease period you can assume the useful life equal to the lease period. So it is clearly mentioned ownership of the leased vehicle will not be transferred to lessee at end of the lease. Will not be na කොහොමත් useful life එක අපිට වැඩක් නැහැ. මේක පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන් අවුරුදු 5යි අවුරුදු 5ට depreciate කරලා දාන්න. ඊළඟ future lease interest එක දීලා තියෙනවා ඊළඟ අවුරුද්දේ lease interest එක. This is to classify the lease liability between current and non-current. Because total lease liability we have to divide between current and non-current. So that from the next year lease installment it is 3.5 million. From that you have to remove the interest and the capital repayment amount you can identify it as current lease liability. Then there is a building revaluation 2021, 2 years back. Remaining useful life 80. Building revalued second time for 166. No accounting entries made. There's a revaluation. Earlier 2.5 million surplus එකට revalue කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒක දැන්ට තියෙනවා. Revaluation reserve 2.5 million. Like first time revaluation. Now second time we revalue again. No entries made. Then following additions for PPE made and properly accounted, that is to complete the PPE note. Then the accumulated depreciation, trial balance we have 40,001 figure. The breakup of that is given 10, 22 and 8. Then the PPE depreciated, motor equipment, office equipment 20%, vehicle 10%. Building අපි revalue කරනවා මේ අවුරුද්දේ අන්තිමට revalue කරනවා. First revaluation එකේ remaining useful life එක 18 years කියලා දීලා තියෙනවා. එයාම අපිට depreciation හොයන්න පුළුවන්. Current year depreciation we can calculate based on that useful life. Then the income tax liability, this is normal adjustment. Total tax liability දීලා තියෙනවා. Tax paid 275. And tax paid include for the last year paid 275. Right? 2,750 paid for the last year. ඔක්කොම 6000ක් ගෙවලා තියෙනවා 6250 ගිය අවුරුද්දට. ගිය අවුරුද්දේ provision එක තියෙනවා 3 million 3000. provision එකක් වෙනවා income tax adjustment. Then board of directors decide to transfer 2.5 million to general reserve and propose dividend. මේක අපි අර ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්න adjustments ටිකක් මම ගෙනල්ලා තියෙනවා පළවෙනි ගාන නිසා. හැබැයි exam question එකේ ඊට වඩා දැන් මේකේ තියෙනවා standards. Right? අපි කතා කරපු standards ගන්නවක් තියෙනවා. මේකේ PPE ටිකක් වැඩිපුර තියෙනවා. නමුත් ඉස්සරහට කතා කරනවා මේකේ PPE වල තියෙන adjustment අඩු කරලා අපි තව අනිත් standards වලින් link කරනවා. Right? Like intangible assets, right? Impairment. Even the tax adjustment, we can have the deferred tax adjustment linked with that, right? Like right. Statement of profit or loss and OCI, statement of changes in equity, statement of financial position, and PPE note. Okay, so we'll have the format first. Format එක ඉස්සරට හදාගෙන ඉමු. Okay. I'll show you the format. It's a format a statement of profit or loss and OCI. You can have the format and statement of financial position format. Right? Right? You can first have these formats. right? I think everyone finished the statement of profit or loss format එක හරි නේද? Right. Okay. Now we have the statement of financial position, statement of changes in equity, complete කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Financial position වල තව යට ඉඩ තියාගන්න lines 3-4ක් statement of liability 4ක් විතර තියෙනවා. Right. දෙකයි මේකෙන් තව current liability වල ඉඩ තියාගන්න line 3-4ක්. right? Statement of financial position, okay. Statement of changes in equity. The BP note එකේ තව කොටසක් තියෙනවා. right? මේ ටික complete කරගන්න. Okay, so we'll take the break, right? So I want all you are having the format for the discussion එක පටන් ගත්ත පස්සේ ආයි format එකට වෙලාව නැහැ. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ formats ටික තියෙනවා. So we can take one by one adjustments and we'll discuss how to attack, how to complete the session. Okay, shall we start then? Ask others also. Oh. Yes. Right. So we'll start with the first additional information now. Right, additional information again cover පටන් ගන්නවා. Now the first one, ordinary share capital of the company 1.6 million into 200. Now we have 32,000. දහස් වලින් ගත්තොත් 1,600 into 200. 32,000 balance එකක් දැන්ට තියෙනවා. Right? We have this. 30, sorry, 320,000 තියෙනවා 320,000 එන්නේ 1,600 into 200. 320,000. ඒකේ අපිට කියනවා during the year 600 issued at 200 which is properly accounted. So we can start with that public issue of shares 600 into 200. 120,000. So now we have 320,000. Current year issue 120 million. Beginning of the year balance should be 200,000. That is 100,000 shares into 200. Right? 1 million shares into 200. For the 1,000 නැත්නම් අපි 1,000 වලින් ගත්තොත් 1,600 shares තමයි දැන් තියෙන්නේ. ඒකෙන් 600 මෙයා උදේ issue කරලා තියෙනවා into 200. එහෙනම් opening balance එක එන්න ඕන 1,000 into 200. 1,000 into 300. 200. 1,000 shares into 200. That is how 320,000 balance in the trial balance is consist of. Right? Then we have capitalized reserves. Capitalization of reserve which is not accounted. 1 for every 5 shares. එහෙනම් opening balance එකක් තිබුණානේ 1,000 shares. 1 for every 5 at 300 capitalization. Now capitalization අපිට බලන්න පුළුවන් 1,000 into 150 into 300. Capitalization of reserve. Opening balance එක ආවේ 1,000 shares because 600 during the year issue, so opening balance 1,000. Because capitalization was made earlier before this public issue. Now here closing balance 1,600. Of that 600 issued 1st October. Company made the capitalization of retained earning on 1st April 2022. අවුරුද්ද මුල කරලා තියෙන්නේ which have not accounted. දැන් 1,000 තමයි ඉරිදම් shares තිබුණේ 150 into 300. 1,000 150 into 300 capitalization 60,000. So we can have the retained earning balance. Opening retained earning 96,500. Can take it to here. Opening retained earning 96,500. From that, you can remove 60,000 and add that into stated cash. So capitalization of reserve 60,000. Remove from retained earning and add to the stated cash. So we have to be careful about the date of share issue, right? This is how we got it. 1,000 shares. මෙතන තියෙන්නේ 600 into 200. Opening balance එක මේ share capital එකේ right share capital එකේ opening balance එක එතකොට එයා දෙන්නේ 200 into 1000 මෙතන තියෙන්නේ 600 issue කරනවා 1600 වලින් so this opening balance consists of 200 into 1000 so that 1150 into 300 get 60,000 capitalization of reserve, retained earning reduced, stated capital increase. Right. Then the second additional information. Financial asset represent 200,000 ordinary shares at 130. Transaction cost 400 added to cost of the investment. These shares held for trading purpose. අපිට මෙතන තව working එකක් ඕනේ. අපිට පොඩි working එකක් ඕනේ. We'll have that working also. Trial balance එකේ දීලා තියෙනවා other income, distribution, admin, other expenses, finance. There may be a lot of adjustments to that to calculate the expenses. You can have that working also. Okay. Right. Now here we have 400 transaction cost added to the financial asset. අපිට පුළුවන් financial asset ඕන D account එකක් හදලා පෙන්නන්නත් පුළුවන්. Financial asset. We have the balance given in the trial balance. $23,000. Now this 23,000 include transaction cost 400, which we can remove. Transaction cost 400, credit the asset account. Erroneously taken at capitalized transaction cost of this financial asset because this is fair value through P&L financial asset. Right? Because held for trading purpose ordinary share investments. That we discussed in our first lecture, right? Financial instrument. So since it is fair value through P&L, so now this 400 transaction cost on fair value, you can add to the other expenses. Transaction cost of financial asset at fair value through P&L. You can add this 400 to 5,000, the trial balance figure. Right? Then you can remeasure this closing balance, carry forward. Carry forward financial asset should be, right? Balance carry forward. Now share price 115 into 200, 25 into 200 is it? 200 ordinary shares at 130 purchase price. Now it should be 125. So 125 into 200. 25,000. I can take it credit side more. Take the credit balance into the debit. So we have a gain charged to PM. The difference 2,400. Gain on fair value of financial asset. This is fair value through P&L financial asset. So we can add that into other income. Right? So this 2,400 can take into this working. Gain on fair value change of financial asset, we can add to other income 2,400. So other income increased by 2,400 because of this gain. Correct. Then we'll move to we have taken the first additional information and the second one. Third one, lease. Company enter into a lease agreement. So when you enter into lease agreement, we need the right of use asset and lease liability. At the moment, we don't have any of these. No. We have right of use asset, but that's also wrong. Shall we take it? Right of use asset. And lease liability. And I'm taking this is right of use asset. We have a balance 9,000. The trial balance is at 9,000. Lease liability, no account, no balance. Then the initial amount of lease liability, the lease agreement 5.5 million paid as a down payment. Initial measurement of lease liability 10,500. So they have not accounted for this, right? They have only recorded the down payment and the installment. So we have to first take this lease initial measurement of lease liability 10,500. You can debit right of use asset account, credit lease liability account 10,500. මේක account කරලා නැති entry එක දැන් අපි account කරමු. Right? The initial amount of lease liability should be credited to lease liability account, debited to right of use asset. This is the discounted present value of the future lease payment. Right? This installment discount value. So you are given that value 10,500. So we debit right of use asset, credit lease liability. Then this 9,000 include down payment as well as the installment, first installment. Down payment 5,500, first installment 3,500. Down payment, yes, we should credit cash and debit right of use asset. Lease installment, we should credit cash, debit to lease liability. Erroneous, now it is included in right of use asset. So this is the installment. ඒක එතනින් මාරු කරලා lease liability account එකට දානවා. මේ පළවෙනි installment. First installment. 3,500. Can take from right of use asset. හරිනම් cash credit වෙලා ගෙලින්ම lease liability debit වෙන්න ඕන. දැන් මේගොල්ලෝ වැරදියට cash credit කරලා debit කරලා තියෙන්නේ right of use asset එක. මේ නිසා අපි එතනින් ඉවත් කරලා correct place එකට ගෙනියමු. So with these two entries, we can have the correct right of use account balance. $19,500. We can have the balance carried forward. Right of use asset 16,000. That is the down payment 5,500 plus initial amount of lease liability 10,500, altogether 16,000.
Yeah, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So now here the 3,500 include that 1,100 interest, right?
Yeah,
For
that we
the
need to remove,
okay.
right? So this is right of use asset. Now, as you
Yeah.
correctly mentioned, now lease liability 10,500. We transfer the installment. Now,
Mhm.
installment include 1,100 interest. So that we have to remove from lease this installment and transfer to P&L.
Okay,
This
sir. Okay.
interest 1,100.
1,000.
Right? We made another entry.
Mhm.
Then only we can find the correct balance of lease liability end of the year. The lease liability, correct lease liability should be 8,100. Right. Now this interest, at the moment, it was included in this right of use asset. So this 3,500, we transfer it into the lease liability and now we remove that and take to the PL. So you can go to our working. You can add this interest on lease to the finance expense. At the moment, it is not taken to the finance expenses. So we can take that 1,100, add to the finance expense. The triangular figure 15,000 doesn't include this. So we can add it. Right? That also we have to consider. Right? Then, now right of use asset, we identified 16,000. Now this need to be depreciated over the useful life because here the over the lease term 5 years. After 5 years, ownership does not transfer. So then we have to depreciate the right of use asset. So depreciation of right of use asset, we can simply take 16,000 divided by 5. So that motor vehicle, we can assume motor vehicle used for the distribution purpose. So I'm adding that into distribution expenses. Depreciation of right of use asset. Then the right of use asset in the statement of financial position, we can show right of use asset we can 16,000 minus 3,200. So we can have 12,800 right of use asset. Okay. Right of use asset 12,800. And the lease liability 8,100. Now we have to divide between current and non-current. For that you are given fourth information, lease interest for the next year 900. Annual lease installment 3,500. So we can easily identify the lease liability current part, current portion of the lease liability. 3,500 minus 900. So from 3,500, when you deduct 900, it is 2,600. Right? 3,500 minus 900. So then the non-current portion is 8,100 total. From that, when you deduct 2,600, balance 5,500. The current. So we identify the lease liability as well as right of use asset. And we identify the relevant expenses, lease interest, and the depreciation of right of use asset to our workings. Then number 5, building revalued first time in 2021. And the remaining useful life of the building were 18 years. Building revalued second time end of the current year, no accounting entries were made. That means given building balance 180,000 is the opening balance. Because it is revalued during the year but not accounted yet. And we don't have any addition or disposal to the building in this activity. Right? And after PP not take buildings were 180,000 trial balance figure ගේන්න පුළුවන් කෙලින්ම opening balance එක විදියට. 180. And accumulated depreciation is 40,000. The breakup given in the additional information. Opening accumulated depreciation include 10,000 accumulated depreciation of building. So opening 10,000. Then the revaluation made end of the year. That means this year we have depreciation. Current year depreciation of building. So you are given, they revalue it on 2020, 31st March 2021. So මේ අවුරුද්ද පටන් ගත්තේ 1st April 2022. එතකොට remaining useful life was 18 years. 1,800 divided by 18, 100. 1,800, sorry, 180,000 divided by 18, 10,000. That is the last year depreciation. That is the accumulated depreciation. Right? 180,000 depreciate over 18 years. And මේ අවුරුද්ද depreciation එක ඔය ගානේ උනේ. Depreciation of building. You can take 108,000 depreciate over 18 years. So building depreciation you can take as administrative expenses. We are taking that 10,000 to the admin expense. Because we revalue end of the year. So this year also we have depreciate based on the remaining useful life from the first time revaluation. Now when you take this 10,000, altogether accumulated depreciation become 20,000. When we revalue, what we have to do, we have to transfer the accumulated depreciation. Debit accumulated depreciation, credit the asset account. You know that. When we are revaluing an asset, accumulated depreciation transfer to the asset account. So we can show that in this note, PP note. Then note. Remove that 20,000, transfer of accumulated depreciation, and remove it from the asset value goals. Accumulated depreciation was that it's asset account. Accumulated depreciation debit, asset credit, building account credit. Now, what is the carried amount? Carried amount 160. Now we revalue it for 166,000. So we have another surplus. So we have a revaluation surplus of 6,000. Right? 160 carried amount, revalue for 166. Revalue for 166. So 6,000 revaluation surplus. Right? No addition, no disposal. Now you can have the closing balance 166. Accumulated depreciation also. Accumulated depreciation, since we revalue on the last day, the entire accumulated depreciation transfer to the asset account, so no accumulated depreciation of the building. Now this is previously revalued asset, previous revaluation also surplus, again surplus. So you can take that into other comprehensive income. Revaluation surplus can take to other comprehensive income 6,000. So we can show that in the statement of profit or loss and OCI, change in revaluation surplus 6,000. $6,000 change in revaluation surplus plus value. Revaluation surplus increases. Right? Right. Then we have additions made for office equipment and motor vehicles during the year, which are properly accounted. So we can use them for the PPE note. Office equipment addition 30 million means 30,000, motor vehicles 20. So we can show that in the PPE note addition, motor vehicle 20 and office equipment 30. So no addition for land. That's it. No disposal. Right? For the complete purpose, when we have the format, we better have all these because when examination context, if you just not include when you first time read, you may miss it sometimes, right? So you better have the disposal, even though disposal is not there. Now in this activity, no disposal. So now we can take the closing balance of land, motor vehicle, and office equipment. So land closing balance 120. Motor vehicle and office equipment 140 and 80. So lands, there are no movement during the year. So opening balance also 100. Motor vehicle and office equipment, other than the two additions, no other movements. So we can have the opening balances. Motor vehicle 120, office equipment 50. So we can complete the total. Now we can quickly calculate the depreciation of motor vehicle and office equipment. Depreciation rates. Office equipment addition made on 1st October. So newly added motor vehicle office equipment should be depreciated only for 6 months. Motor vehicle addition made on 1st January. So that should be depreciated only for 3 months. Depreciation rates are office equipment 20%, motor vehicle 10%. Right? So can you work out this? Office equipment 20%, motor vehicle 10%. These are the date of additions. So we can quickly calculate the depreciation expense of motor vehicle and office equipment. Right. So the depreciation of motor vehicle should be 13,000. Why? We have motor vehicle opening balance 120,000. So 120,000 into 10% plus addition 20,000, 10% into 3 months. And here you see the calculation. So depreciation for motor vehicle, right? So now if you can have the calculation, right? Opening balance of motor vehicle 120,000, 10%. Plus motor vehicle 3 months or 6 months? 3 months, 3 months. 10% into 0.25, 12,500, right? 12,500. Hundred 20,000, 10% full year, 20,000, 10% into 3 months. Then office equipment should be 13,000, 50,000 into 20%, 30,000 into 20% into 6 months. 50,000, 20%, 10,000, 30,000, 20%, 6,000, but 3 months, 3,000, altogether 13,000. And you can have the opening balances of accumulated depreciation that is given in the question. Motor vehicle 22,000, office equipment 8,000. Right? Take a break up again. Accumulated depreciation, break up. Right? So lands are not depreciated, so we can have that 0. And so with that we can complete the PP naught. So opening depreciation plus current year depreciation. And finally, from the total cost, we deduct total accumulated depreciation. You get the difference. Five hundred 450,500 is the carrying amount of the redundant. මේක ගන්න පුළුවන් depreciation motor vehicle and office equipment depreciation 13,000. So we have depreciated all assets, right? Of use asset, building, motor vehicle, physically. We adjust them into the relevant expense. Right. Then we have this income tax adjustment. Income tax liability for the year 2.7 million. Tax paid include 2,750 for the last year. So total tax, right? Total tax paid include 2,750 for the last year. So last year provision 3,000. So when we have provided for the last year 3,000, actual payment 2,750 means there is an over provision 250 for the last year. So when you take current year expense, what we can do, that over provision we can deduct. If no over provision, current year expense should be 7,200. No, this year expense. But we have a 250 over provision because 3,000 is the last year provision, but actual payment only 2,750. So we can simply take the income tax expense for the year 7,250 minus 7,200 minus 250, 6,950. 6,950. Then how much is the tax liability payable amount? Now total income tax liability for the year 7,200, right? 7,200. From that, how much we have paid? We have paid 9,200 during the year, which include 2,750 for the last year. Right? Total tax, sorry, tax. So total income tax payable we have total liability 7,200. Okay, මෙයාවුතර ගෙවලා තියෙන්නේ කීයද? 9,200 paid, but that include payment for last year 2,750. එහෙනම් 9,200 minus 2,750, 6,450 ගෙවලා තියෙන්නේ. So the current year tax payable is only 750. Is that? හරිද? 9,200 2,750 ගිය අවුරුද්දට ගෙවලා තියෙනවා. ඒතර මේ අවුරුද්දට ගෙවලා තියෙන්නේ 6,450. Current year total liability 7,200. So another payable balance for this year is only 250. Now total tax paid counted at worth දැන් income tax expense account එකේ දැන්ට තියෙනවනේ 9200 right? දැන් job tax එක trial balance sorry 6000 trial balance 6000 right 6000 තියෙන්නේ 9200 6000 sorry දැන්ට ගෙවලා තියෙන්නේ 6000 මේ අවුරුද්ද. මේ 6000 වලින් 2000 2750 ගියාම 3250 තමයි ගෙවලා තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? 3950 තමයි payable balance. මේ අවුරුද්දට ගෙවලා තියෙන්නේ 6000 right not 9000. 7000 total tax liability we have paid 6000 but that 6000 include 2750 for the last year so we remove it. Right? For now the account එක පෙන්නුවොත් 9200ක් ගෙවලා තියෙනවා. Opening liability balance එක තියෙනවා 3000. Now this 9200 තියෙනවා 6000. Now this 6000 include 2750 paid for the last year. ඕක මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? ඕක income tax payable එකට මාරු කරන්න. Provision 270. නැත්නම් මේ account එක 3000 මේක දැන් මෙතන balance වෙන්න ඕනේ. right? balance කරන්න ඕනේ. අර බැලු වෙනවා 3000 වලින් 2750 ගෙවම over provision එකක් තියෙනවා. Over provision you have to transfer to the tax expense. 250. Over provision 250. Right? So මේ අවුරුද්දේ tax payable එනවා. Income tax payable එක අපි හොයාගත්තා. කීයද? අපි හොයාගත්තා income tax payable 9000 3950 3950 එක මාර්ක් වෙන්න ඕනේ income tax expense එකෙන් 3950 row balance එක යනවා පහළට. දැන් මෙතන account එක balance කරොත් අපිට P&L වලට එනවා. difference 6950 right? මොනටි account එකෙන් හොයන්නත් පුළුවන් අර වගේ එකතු කරලා ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. Here you will get the balance carried forward. So this is not necessary, right? This is just for your understanding. If you are more familiar with T account, you can go ahead with the T account, or you can just take plus and minus and identify the tax expense and tax payable, tax liability. right? Right, the tax expense එකයි tax liability එක අපි අඳුනගත්තා. Then there is a debenture issue. Issued debentures. Company issue 1 million 15% debentures beginning of the year. Transaction cost 500 including other expenses. Debenture matured in 2026 and redeemed at a discount. Effective interest rate then 10%. However, interest paid as per coupon rate including the finance expenses. Right. එතකොට දැනට අපිට තියෙනවා debenture කියලා balance එකක් 60,000. Which is 60,000. These are the debenture issued by the company. Right. Transaction cost. They haven't taken. They have taken that into expense. But when you issue debenture, transaction cost, what you have to do? Transaction cost, you have to debit the financial liability account. Right? අපි ගත්තොත් debenture account එක මේ issue කරපු debenture. දැනට balance එක තියෙන්නේ 60,000. Right, 60,000 තමයි දැනට balance එක තියෙන්නේ transaction cost. And when you issue debenture, the transaction cost 500 included in other expenses, that is wrong. You have to remove it from other expenses, credit other expenses and debit into the financial liability account. And අපිට පුළුවන් මේක දැනට වැරදියට finance expenses, other expenses වල තියෙනවා. Transaction cost of debenture issued 500 deduct from other expenses, credit other expense. Transaction cost, credit other expense. Debit the financial liability debenture issued. Transaction cost 500. Then the interest, the coupon interest rate 15%. The interest paid on the coupon rate included in the finance expense. But we know that interest paid should credit cash and debit financial liability. The effective interest rate, we should use effective interest rate to calculate the interest expense. And අපි බලන්න පුළුවන් දැන්ට දෙවපු ගාන interest paid තියෙන්නේ 60,000 into 15%. 9,000. Including this 15,000. We have to credit finance expense 9,000. Debit that into financial liability debenture account. Interest paid. The correct interest expense is 60,000 minus 5,000, 59,500, the opening balance, into 10%. Effective interest rate is given as 10%. So that should be our interest expense. So we can calculate interest expense. $60,000 minus 500 into 10% effective interest rate. So that should be 5,090. 5,950. We debit interest expense, credit debenture account. Credit the financial liability, debenture account. This is what we call amortized cost method that we use to record financial liability, debenture issued. Right? ගෙවපු interest එක නෙමෙයි අපි ගන්නෙ. Effective interest rate එකට අදාළ interest එක තමයි P&L debit වෙලා ඒක අපි credit කරනවා financial liability. Interest එක ගෙවද්දි coupon rate එකට cash credit financial liability account debit, debenture issued account debit. So here interest expense can take 5,950. So with that, we can find the balance carried forward. The carried forward balance of debenture 56,450. This is the amortized cost. Amortized cost. So it's a financial liability. Debenture is a financial liability measured at amortized cost, right? So initially measured at fair value, that is the issue price, minus transaction cost, increased by interest expense, decreased by interest paid under coupon rate. Interest expense calculated based on the effective interest rate. Right? Now we can take this into the venture financial liability at amortized cost debenture. We got 56,450. Right. So now we have taken all the additional information except this transfer to general reserve. එකත් අපිට ඕනනම් දාන්න පුළුවන්. General reserve. දැන් general reserve එකක් නැහැ. Transfer to general reserve. $2,500 remove from retained earning and to the general reserve. That's it. Now we can take this working total. Can have the total other income, distribution expense, admin expense, other expense, and finance expense. So we can take them into the statement of profit or loss and OCA. Take the total කරලා statement of profit or loss එක ගෙනියන්න. Right. Then you can take the other balances from the trial balance. The trial balance is the honest balances. Revaluation reserve එක 2500 එක අපිට ගේන්න පුළුවන් statement of changes in equity වල opening balance. Revaluation reserve opening balance 2500. Right, trial balance එකේ දීලා තියෙනවා. Financial asset එක අපි දැන්නම ගත්තා. Right of use asset එකක් අපි අරගෙන තියෙනවා. Cost of sales and sales you can take into the statement of profit or loss. ගාන දීලා තියෙනවා. එහෙම ගන්න. The gross profit you can have a calculated figure. Gross profit. Then with that we can have the profit before tax. And profit shown was for the year. And finally, total comprehensive income. Statement of profit or loss for year ending 31st March 2023. Right. During 2023, let us see. Right. අපිට තව තියෙනවා inventory, cash and bank, trade receivable. Just given balances can take into the statement of financial position as it is from the trial balance. වෙනසක් නැහැ එහෙනම් trial balance figures. Financial asset එක අපි ගත්තා financial asset account එකේ closing balance එක 25000. right? ඒක අපි හොයාගත්තනේ financial asset working එකක් තිබුණා. Yeah. Financial asset account. Trade payables අපිට ගේන්න පුළුවන් financial liability එකක් trade payable trial balance එකේ දීලා තියෙනවා. එහෙනම් මේක ගේන්න පුළුවන් 68500. These expenses we have already considered. Other income considered. Dividend payment that we need to take into the statement of changes in equity. Dividend paid for ordinary shares can deduct from retail. Then profit for the year හොයාගෙන තියෙනවා 10,800. You can add that into the retained earning. Profit for the year. And change in revaluation surplus. Other comprehensive income item එක. 6,000 එක add කරන්න පුළුවන් revaluation surplus. General reserve no opening balance. So now we can have the total. And take those total into the statement of financial position. PP note එකේ අපිට පුළුවන් total එක ගේන්න 450,500. So we have taken all the items from the statement of changes in equity, we note. Any question? Any adjustments? If you are not clear, you can ask. මේකේ leasing financial instrument අපි මේ course එකේ කතා කරපු topics directly related වුණා. Financial asset, financial liability and the leasing. In under property, plant and equipment, that is prerequisite, right? PP adjustments අපි expect කරනවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ දානවා. Right? Financial reporting මේ course එකට එනකොට කලින් property, plant and equipment කොහොමද ඉගෙනගෙන එන්නේ? කවුද බලන්න එනවා? Telephone. 5 months. 10,800. You sure? General reserve wrong. General reserve in Makari. So it tally for 565, 800. Okay, any question? Any adjustment? Tapi ini kata ini hanya research tax environment intangible asset, right? BP itu katakan ni kemudahan kita dengan BP apa? BP kami apa ini apa? Ini property. Ini apa? Deferred tax ini. Yeah. So අපි main standards ටික අපි දැනට කතා කරේ ඒ කියන්නේ advanced standards ටික අපි classroom එකේ වෙනම කතා කරේ financial instrument එතන standards තුනක් එනවා right SLFRS 9 and 32 main කතා කරේ leases income tax LPS 12 leases SLFRS 16 employee benefit LPS 19 ඔය හතරම අපි දැන්ට advanced standards වලින් කතා කරලා තියෙන්නේ right එතකොට අර PP ඇත්තටම සිලබස් එකේ වෙනම ස්ටෑන්ඩ් එකක විතර කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් that is prerequisite when it comes to company account you have to know it. Intangible asset, impairment, investment property, borrowing cost that can be linked with the company accounts. Right? So company account එක adjustments එක press කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Okay. Any question? exam එකේදී ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ සමහර standards adjustments company ගානේ test වෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව වෙනම standards වලින් ලකුණු 30කට විතර වෙනම questions තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේ අපි කතා කරපු වගේ activities එන්න පුළුවන්. අපි හිතමු දැන් leasing වල complete activity එකක්. ඊළඟට ටිකක් employee benefit defined benefit plan එකක right complete asset liability අඳුන ගන්න ඒ වගේ activity එකක් එන්න පුළුවන්. deferred tax වල complete activity එකක්. ඒ වගේ අපි කතා කරපුවා standards වලින් වෙනවත් test වෙනවා. ඊළඟට ඒ වගේ සමහර පොඩි කොටස් මේ වගේ company question එකකට link වෙනවා. Right? So that is how we test exam. So we will continue the company account discussion next lecture. Right?